All right. Yeah, we got going early. How about that? It's a rare moment. We started a stream early. Woo! Yay. Gonna tweet it out. I guess I should get the chat up here. Yeah. But, yeah. To the one person who's here so far, all one of you. We're here to react to my terrible preseason predictions. I have not watched this video since I edited it back in January or February, whenever I did it. So this should be exciting, maybe. David, welcome. I guess you're the one person here. But yeah, we're going to react to my preseason predictions. Once again, I don't know what they are. I got a couple of things that I remember. I remember who my champion is, and I think I had another Final Four guy in there that I remember. But outside of that, I really don't remember what I predicted. So we're going to laugh at how bad my preseason predictions were. And, well, you guys can make fun of me. It's one of my favorite live streams of the year. I love doing this. I love making fun of myself. So let's look at my preseason predictions once I finish this up. But also, if there's any issues with the stream, audio, or videos lagging, just let me know. I'll do my best. I don't have the screen up yet. We're about to get there. But we do this every Sunday after the season. It's our first Sunday without NASCAR since August, and it's our first Sunday that we have to deal with the rest of the year. Until February for the Clash. Hello, Sean from Australia. Yeah, we're gonna laugh at my preseason predictions today. And I think I got everything out. All right. Stream looks good. That looks good. And by the way, all right, we'll do this now. There's me all the way back in February or January. It tells me what date I did it, so I could just look at that. February 11th. So February. Yes. I got my notepad here. It's a tiny one, but it'll work. This is why I took to Darlington with me. I took all my notes on this thing in Darlington. But every time I get something right, I will put a check mark. If I get something wrong, we get next. The goal is to have more checks than X's. So bat 50%, bat 500. You may be thinking that's a pretty low expectation, but I make bold predictions. I make playoff predictions. I make a championship prediction and Final Four predictions. Each one of those is a tick. And so everything I get right, it's a check. That's an X. And I know I'm going to have a lot of X's this year because my playoff bracket, I'm pretty sure, was pretty different. But welcome, Steven, to the live stream. We're going to get going now. So let's laugh at my predictions. 39 minutes. So we might have to skip through some of the stuff.
Year where we make some preseason predictions.
Yep.
We're going to talk about 2024, the NASCAR Cup Series, all the changes that have been made over the offseason, all of the new drivers, tell you who I think should pick. And I'm going to do something a little different this year when I pick the champion. I think I'm going to do it this year. I'm going to launch a fantasy league. We're going to start a
fantasy league. I forgot we did this. I have not checked on the fantasy standings in so long, I've got to be honest. I change my roster every week. I don't know why, but next year we will focus more on the fantasy league, and I'll make sure to emphasize it more heavily, I guess, and talk about it more each week on the Monday after. We'll talk about the fantasy standings. I did a really bad job of keeping up with that. I'll show you the final fantasy standings at the end of the stream now that it's on my head, but thank you to all who joined, but yeah, I did a really bad job of keeping up with that. Apologies. I forgot we did that.
I'm going to put the link in the description. I'm going to put the
Don't
link
crash.
On community points, all about having fun. I've always wanted to do that, have a fan for NASCAR season. Already had one race, a preseason race, the Clash at the Coliseum, won by Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin,
I forgot.
Of course, has over 50.
I kind of forgot that Denny Hamlin won the Clash. I'm not going to lie.
50 wins in his career, 3 Daytona 500s, but no championship yet. That will be one of the talking points today. But that is a storyline that we will talk about. But there are some other storylines we're going to talk about. It's NASCAR's 76th season.
I guess I could.
Obviously, not as big of a deal as the 75th.
Go to full
but
screen.
now that we have that number out there, I thought I would mention it. I got all this stuff in my notebook here. As for
the notebook has gotten smaller. Not that it matters, but just saying.
Everything else, there are some big storylines heading into 2024.
Ooh,
a good
let's
chunk
see.
of them
Let's see
about
what they
the
were.
NASCAR schedule. The first one we're going to talk about is the return of the Brickyard 400.
Yes.
The crown jewel.
The
returns
Brickyard
to glory.
400.
It was at the road course there for a few years, but the Brickyard 400 is back on the Indianapolis Oval for the first time since 2020. So that will be interesting to see how that race goes. It's first ever race with the next gen car. How will it race? And then also, who's going to win and all that stuff. I've got that prediction for you later in this video.
All right, so yeah, the Brickyard 400's back. That's the first big storyline. We're going to talk about the preseason storylines. Obviously, the storylines change as the season goes on, whether it's someone winning a lot, whether it's teams suing NASCAR. Who would have saw that coming? The storylines always change. That's how the news works. And before the season, we hit some big points. And the first one we hit there was the Brickyard 400. And the Brickyard 400, it was controversial. The ending, at least, with the restart because Keselowski ran out of fuel. And then Larson, did he jump the start? But it ended up being Kyle Larson who won the first return, I guess, to the Brickyard 400. So that was a really big deal to go back to the Indianapolis Oval.
Also, the NASCAR Cup Series is going to go to Iowa Speedway for the first time. It's a big add to the schedule. It'll be in the middle of June. It'll be a fun race, hopefully. So, as I said, first trip to Iowa for the NASCAR Cup Series. Hopefully, Iowa football legend Brian Ferentz is there. He knows how to run an offense. NASCAR
football.
Cup Series is going to Iowa. And then the next bit of schedule that is big is the change in...
Okay. So Iowa, on the flip side, so we talked about there was some controversy at Indy. Iowa was fantastic. It had a great race there. Ryan Blaney ended up winning that race. And he has some personal family connections to Iowa, so it was really cool to see him, some of his family there. And just to see that Iowa race was a success, I would say. It was a really good race. It was exciting. It was entertaining. We saw different guys up front. Different guys like Larson had to charge through the field, playoff implications. Like there was a lot that happened in the Iowa race. So it was a good race. I'm glad it's coming back. I'm glad it was on the schedule, but that was a pretty solid race if you ask me.
In the playoff schedule, the first round is completely different.
Yes,
we go Atlanta, Watkins Glen, Bristol, and then of course we have a cutoff. The second round just has one change. Instead of Texas being that first race, it's now Kansas, and then you go to Talladega in the Roval. So 2 road courses and 2 super speedways in the playoffs. And then everything else is the same. The round of 8 races will be Vegas, Homestead, Martinsville, and the championship race remains at Phoenix. So some big changes to the playoffs in terms of those early rounds with 2 road courses.
So yeah, there was a big change in the playoff schedule. Traditionally, we've only had 2 wild card races, Talladega and the Roval, but this year we had 4 wild card races. We had Atlanta, which is now a super speedway, and we had Watkins Glen. And everyone's fear was that it was going to knock out a big contender, a big name contender. Something would happen to Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, someone like that. But at the end of the day, there was no really shocking eliminations from these wild card rounds. And that's, to put it blatantly, it's because we had a lot of guys winning we didn't think were going to win. Harrison Burton, Austin Cindric, Daniel Suarez, Chase Briscoe, all these guys were running 17th or worse in the points. And we kind of saw them not really having a deep path in the playoffs. And that kind of, if anything, it made the jobs for the Larsons, Hamlins, Elliots, Logano's, it made their job a little bit easier to advance in the playoffs. I hate to, say that about those guys, but just the way that the season usually plays out, we have our top guys, but that it just didn't play out. There were no major upsets despite the wacky playoff bracket. Steven is predicting SVG 2025 NASCAR playoff champion. Yeah, we'll make our 2025 predictions at some point.
2 super speedways. but basically everything else is the same. And then, of course, another big talking point will be Shane Van Gisbergen has made the move from Australia to the United States. The three-time Supercars champ is looking to win an Xfinity championship. He's going to be competing full-time in the Xfinity series, but he's also going to be making some Cup Series starts as well, 7 of them, in the Colleague number 16 car. Of course, his deal is through Trackhouse Racing, who he won the Project 91 car in Chicago last summer, but he's going to be racing for Colleague as a lease in 2024. So that will be interesting to see how he does in both the Xfinity and Cup side of things. I've got a prediction for you there.
All right, so yeah, then the next talking point, Shane Van Gisbergen, obviously, when he first won that Chicago race, took the NASCAR world by storm. And this year it was going to be a challenge. A lot of tracks he's never been to, a lot of style of tracks he's never been to. And SVG, he didn't win on an oval, but he had some good performances. You look at Atlanta in the spring, finishing in the top 3, top 10 at Phoenix, the second time back at Darlington, scoring a top 10. Let's see, where else? Top 10 at Kansas in his playoff debut. He won 3 road courses, but we were expecting him to do well on the road courses. And then they expanded his schedule on the Cup Series side. Once they decided that he was going to get promoted to the Cup Series, they decided to give him more starts. So he made a start at Darlington, at Martinsville. They also added Daytona to his schedule, Atlanta to his schedule. So he got a lot of different racetracks, and he did really good at Martinsville. I think that was, from the Cup Series side of things, I think Martinsville was probably the highlight of the season for SVG to get a top 15 in his Martinsville Cup debut. But I know he got close to winning at Watkins Glen, but I think Martinsville, that was probably the high point in the Cup season. Xfinity side, it's hard to top winning, obviously, but the winning was good. And then I'd say that Darlington race, getting a top 10 in his second ever start there in Xfinity. The Atlanta finish, that was exciting, but Yannet, apologies if I pronounced that wrong. SVG will win the 2025 Daytona 500. All right. David said Martin Truex Jr. Yeah, Martin Truex Jr., obviously that didn't come out till midseason, so we don't talk about it here, but Martin Truex Jr. announced midseason that he would be retiring, so this was his final season, and unfortunately for Truex, no win. But he did make the playoffs. He's going to be part-time at the very least next year. So he's got more chances at winning. But unfortunately for Truex, no championship, no wins this year. Let's see here. All right, let's move on.
And then another big move, another big change that's one of them's kind of driver, but it's mostly the team. Legacy Motor Club is in its first season as a Toyota team. So yes, that means Jimmy Johnson, 7-time champion who raced his entire career with Hendrick Motorsports, his entire career with a Chevy up until this point, will be driving a Toyota. He's only going to be part-time, but it's going to be really weird to see Jimmy Johnson drive a Toyota. The pictures of him in a Toyota fire suit are weird enough, but how will Legacy Motor Club, how will they transition into the Toyota program? How will they do in this first year of Toyota? There's a lot of question marks, but some of them are good question marks, so we'll see how they end up doing. And then,
all right, so that was not a prediction, thankfully. I'm trying to think if I had Jones in my playoffs. I can't remember, but Legacy Motor Club, yes, their first season with Toyota, and oh boy, I'm going to put it nicely. It was bad. Let me pull up some statistics here. Jimmy Johnson's average finish was like in the 30s in his limited starts. We have to scroll all the way down to 28th for Eric Jones. John Hunter Nemechek finished 34th in the standings, which was last of the full-time drivers. Only one top 5 by the team. One single top 5 by Legacy Motor Club all year. Safe to say it's been a rough transition so far. I know that they are not a part of the alliance with Joe Gibbs Racing. They're trying to do it on their own. There's going to be some growing pains. There were a lot of growing pains this year, and they were sharp growing pains, if that's a thing, I guess. But yeah, it was a terrible year for Legacy Motor Club. No other way to put it. It was year one with Toyota, so, you can put you can give them an excuse, give them a break, but statistically it was a horrible year. You had one driver finish last out of all the full-time drivers, and you only had one top 5 with the entire team. And then Jones finished 28th in the points. So, yeah, really, really bad year for Legacy Motor Club. But once again, it's a growing year. It's a development year. It's their first year with Toyota. We didn't expect them to go win the championship, but it was a bad year for them. It was a bad year.
This year, we have an actual Rookie of the Year battle. The past few years, there hasn't really been one, or it's been really weak. Like last year, we had Ty Gibbs in a Joe Gibbs racing car versus Noah Gragson in the Legacy Motor Club car. Gibbs was well ahead, and then Noah Gragson, of course, left Legacy Motor Club, or, was fired, whatever it may be.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
There was no real Rookie of the Year battle. We knew it was over by June, and then, of course, it was officially over by July or August. So this year we get an actual Rookie of the Year battle. Carson Hocevar, Zane Smith, and Josh Berry all competing for that Rookie of the Year award. I don't think Noah Gragson is a rookie.
He was
Correct me if I'm wrong.
He was not.
If they still count him as a rookie, then, I guess he's in there. But as of now, I think it's just those three. So you got 2 Spire cars and a Stewart-Haas racing car. And this is why this battle is interesting, because Spire is on the rise. They're actually taking...
All right, so the Rookie of the Year battle. Carson Hocevar actually ended up winning Rookie of the Year, but yeah, it was 3 completely different stories, because Zane Smith had a horrendous start to the year. They were slow, they had problems, mechanical failures. Zane Smith had a couple of crashes. Everything was sloppy. They had a horrible start. But by June, July, they started to actually pick it up. Zane Smith was consistently top 15, top 20. He about won at Nashville. And they were actually solid for the second half of the season, but unfortunately lost his seat, lost his contract with Trackhouse. And then the other rookies, Carson Hocevar got a few top 10s this year. I think he got a couple of top 5s. I've got the standings pulled up here. No, I don't, but I can re-pull them up. And then Josh Berry led some laps at some short tracks. I think he got a pole at some point, I want to say. But Hocevar finished 21st in the standings. Berry finished 27th. He had 2 top 5s, 1 stage win, by the way. Zane Smith had 2 top 5s and finished 30th in the standings. So Carson Hocevar with the Rookie of the Year battle.
Steps forward to become a better. They've got
yes.
It's been a couple years maybe. So it has been a big struggle for Stewart-Haas Racing. So we'll see whom. So those 2 teams
that's awkward. Oh, looking back at this, back in February of 24, and here we are in November of 24, who would have thought that Stewart-Haas Racing would shut down completely? I don't think anyone had that written down on their little 2024 NASCAR bingo card. I think you could have seen Stewart-Haas maybe selling charters and downsizing, but I don't think anyone saw Stewart-Haas Racing shutting down completely. That was a shock. That was surprising, whatever other words you can use. But that's a big deal. That's a really big deal for a 4-car operation, not just to, slowly die, but they just rapid fire, got it all out. So, that was definitely a shock this year.
Different trajectories, and they all have rookies. So we'll see who wins that Rookie of the Year battle. And then, of course, we have the Ryan Blaney title defense. Every year in my book, whoever wins the championship the prior year, their title defense is important to me. How do they respond from winning a championship? Can they do what Jimmy Johnson did and win 5 straight? Now, in this format, that's not going to happen, but can they put up a formidable fight for their title defense? Or will they lay over like Joey Logano last year? We'll see how Ryan Blaney does in his title defense. Now, as for...
That's awkward. So Ryan Blaney probably got the closest anyone has to going back-to-back in this format. It's never been done. No one has ever won back-to-back championships in this format. And ironically, it's because I said, well, is he going to have a title defense? Is he going to do what Jimmy Johnson did and win back-to-back? 5 straight's asking a bit much, but win back-to-back. Or is he going to do what Logano did from 22 to 23? Remember, Logano in 22 won 4 races, won the championship. But in 23, Logano won 1 race and was eliminated in the first round of the playoffs. So when you look at it that way, it's pretty rough. But when you look at it now, it's ironic because Logano ended up holding off Blaney at the end there to win the championship.
For that Rookie of the Year battle. Now we're going to go talk about some changes that have happened in the NASCAR Cup Series, and that all comes with the 3 drivers we just talked about, and then we'll get into some more driver changes. Zane Smith makes his Cup Series debut as a full-time driver.
We already
in the
talked about him.
Spire Motorsports car through a deal with Trackhouse.
Side note, this section next year, our preview part of the season where we have to talk about all the changes, it's going to be a record on this channel. It's going to be at least 20 minutes long, I feel like, because we have to talk about the new broadcast deal, the new broadcast partners. Stewart-Haas Racing shut down, so there's a completely new team. Drivers are with different teams. Crew chiefs have changed. I mean, there's a lot of changes next year. And then the whole 2311 front row lawsuit, if they don't get the charters, we're going to have to talk about that. I mean, there's going to be a lot to cover next year in the preseason prediction preview video, just the preview part alone.
Hocevar replaces Ty Dillon in the number 77 Spire car. Ty Dillon out of a ride. He is now in the Truck Series. And then Josh Berry replaces the retiring Kevin Harvick.
Yep.
Kevin Harvick, future Hall of Famer, stepped down away from the 4 at the end of 2023. Josh Berry is his replacement. Other driver moves, we've got Kaz Grala will be running the majority of the races in the number 15 car. We're also going to see Cody Ware maybe for a few races in that car. We're going to see Riley Herbst in the Daytona 500. Daniel Hemrick is going to be in the number 31 car. He replaces Justin Haley. Justin Haley now at the other Rick Ware Racing car in the number 51. He will be a full-time driver.
And who would have thought back in February, this is another, we're going to say that so many times during this live stream, who would have thought we would have had an essential NASCAR driver trade where Corey LaJoie would be going over to Rick Ware Racing and Justin Haley would be going over to Spire in a mid-season driver swap? Who would have thought that? I wouldn't have. I'm sure someone maybe could have seen a driver swap, but if they did, what are the lottery numbers, man?
There. Speaking of Colleague, we've got Josh Williams, AJ Allmendinger, and Shane Van Gisbergen as of now in the number 16 car. The number 16 car will be rotating drivers just like the Rick
We
Ware.
saw Derek Kraus in there. I think Ty Dillon got a start or two in there, and Ty Dillon's going to be full-time next year. We saw, who else did we see in that 16? SVG, Allmendinger, Josh Williams. I think that's it. I could be missing a few guys, but yeah, correct me if I'm wrong there. But yeah, wild. Just a lot of things going on at Colleague.
Racing number 15. So they will be fighting for an owner's championship, but not quite the driver's championship. And then another big change, John Hunter Nemechek returns to the NASCAR Cup Series, this time in the Legacy Motor Club.
We already talked about it enough, but rough year for him.
Of course, he made his Cup Series debut just a few years ago. He had his rookie season with Front Row Motorsports in the number 38 car, but after a year, decided to leave for KBM in the Truck Series and made his way back up to the Cup Series. And then, of course, the last one, Noah Gragson will drive the Stewart-Haas Racing number 10 car, replacing
Talked
Eric
about that a
Almirola,
little bit.
semi-retired. Almirola now a part-time Xfinity driver for Joe Gibbs Racing. So those are the big changes that you need to know for the 2024 NASCAR Cup Series changes. And this is the part of the video you've all been waiting for.
Is this the predictions?
Time for some predictions.
Oh my God. I'm serious. I have not watched this video since I edited it back in February. So I have no idea where these predictions are going to go. I don't know what I said back in February other than my champion. I know that, but I got my pin ready. An X for everything that's wrong, a check for everything that's right. The goal is to go 50%. If we don't go 50%, there's not really a punishment, I guess. But if I get 50% right, there's also really not a prize. So this is what you showed up here for. Let's laugh at my terrible preseason predictions.
Now, I said this is one of my favorite videos of the year, and this is why. I enjoy laughing at myself. So come November, when
oh my gosh, it's past me talking about future me, which is now current me. Wow, guys, I think this is what they call trippy.
this video, we are going to laugh at a lot of these predictions.
We are.
How wrong
We're about
I
to
was.
laugh so
I
hard.
want you all to tell me what your predictions are in the comments. I want you to say who you.
Yeah, okay. My predictions are Joey Logano championship, Ryan Blaney second, William Byron third, Tyler Reddick fourth. William Byron wins the Daytona 500. Kyle Larson wins the Brickyard 400. And let's go with Chase Briscoe to win the Southern 500 and Stuart Haas Racing shutting down. I think I got all those right.
Who thinks it'll win the championship, the Final Four, playoffs, whatever
nervous.
it may be. But we don't laugh at your comments. We only laugh at me.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
I'm not even going to.
Curious to see what
I will not be going to the comments. Unless you have a specific request to, we won't go to the comments. We will only be laughing at my terrible predictions. All of your predictions that you wrote in the comments were lovely. Even if they were wrong, they were lovely. Mine were ugly and wrong and dumb.
You have for your predictions for the 2024 NASCAR Cup Series, and then also, some other things. Whatever I mentioned here, if you want to say that in the comments. And first up, oh boy, I've got some bold predictions this year.
Oh, God.
And when I say bold, I mean this first one is the boldest of them all, and it is way out there. I give it a less than 0.5% chance of happening. But if it does happen, I am a genius. You will understand what I mean when I say it. My first bold prediction of 2024, Matt Kenseth will drive at least one race in the 84 car.
What?
Yes, or at least one race for Legacy Motor Club. Let me specify.
Why did I predict that? I knew I was going to be doing this in the future. Why would I predict that? I have a goal of getting a certain amount right. Why would I predict that Matt Kenseth was going to make a start for Legacy? I get he's an advisor, and he's there helping them out. But we got a big fat X on prediction number 1 because my dumb butt decided to say Matt freaking Kenseth was going to come back for a race. That was the stupid. I told you guys we were going to laugh. That was really bad. We got an LMAO in the comments from Yane. Once again, apologies if I pronounced that wrong. As you Supercars fans know, I pronounce names wrong a lot.
Specify. He will drive at least one race for Legacy Motor Club. I don't know if they would switch the number or whatever. Matt Kenseth drive the car for a race.
Nope.
What?
Nope.
He can't race? Matt Kenseth. I know Corey Heim is their reserve driver, but my extremely bold prediction, the first one, Matt Kenseth to race.
I should have said Corey Heim because Corey Heim did race a couple races for Legacy when Eric Jones was out. I literally mentioned him. I got to move on. I can't focus on this anymore.
It's one race for Legacy Motor Club. I know it's absurd.
That was stupid.
My next bold prediction.
You're an idiot.
This is kind of a spoiler, I guess, for who I have in the playoffs, but you'll figure that out later. I don't only think Ty Gibbs wins a race this year. I think he wins multiple races this year. That means 2 or more races.
God. Oh. I'm not getting 50% on this. This is bad. Yep. This is rough. We're 0 for 2. The first one was straight up stupid. The second one, I get sophomore slumps are a thing, but JGR is good. Ty Gibbs had some flashes last year. Maybe he could win a race or two, but yeah, that was bad. That ended up backfiring massively. First round playoff elimination, and he won 0 races, so that was rough. Hello, Tech. Welcome to the live stream. We're in the part of the live stream where we laugh at my terrible preseason predictions, and so far I'm 0 for 2, and they were not even close. Not even close. David's laughing. Yannick's laughing. I mean, no, go for it. Keep laughing. That's the whole purpose of this live stream, but oh, this is rough.
I think Ty Gibbs, he showed a lot of improvement through 2023, especially the late part of 2023.
Silence.
This is not as bold as the Matt Kenseth thing, obviously, and I don't even think it's as bold as predicting Ty Gibbs to win multiple races. I'd say it's on a scale of, mild to extremely spicy. This is medium. I think Shane Van Gisbergen does win another Cup Series race.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You've got, if he does.
if he just stays on the racetrack, if he just gets through the bus stop chicane normally, one of my bold predictions would have been right. Oh my God. All right. Bring it on, baby. We're 0 for 3. I mean, these are bold predictions. I shouldn't be like super mad that I'm wrong here, but that one, oh,
That's gut wrenching because he almost did it. He was half a lap away, and he missed the bus stop chicane.
I don't know which road course it'll happen, but we know that he is competitive. He is very fast on the road
yeah,
course.
he was.
Or road
Till the
courses.
bus stop chicane
And
came
we also
up.
know that 16 car is fast on the road courses. Of course, SVG won the Chicago Street Race last year, and the 16 car with AJ Allmendinger won at the Charlotte Roval last year. SVG's running on a few road courses this year.
Silence.
My next bold prediction, people predict this every year. This is the first time I'm properly predicting it. I think Martin Truex Jr. retires at the end of the 2024
We got
season.
one.
I don't know. Not much else.
We got one.
There you go.
We got a bold prediction. We're 25%, baby. Martin Truex Jr. retiring. Let's go, man. We have our first check. Let's go. It was Truex retiring, which I'm sad about, but if he was gonna retire, I'd want to be right on it, I guess, so I can put a check mark. 25%. We got another 25% to go.
And then finally, my other bold predictions.
Oh no.
You'll learn those in a minute because they have to do with the playoffs, and I'm not going to spoil. I've already spoiled one playoff spot for you, but you're not going to get them all. You still got a few minutes to go. Now we're going to predict the majors, or the crown jewels of NASCAR. We do this every year. We highlight the crown jewels.
All right, so yeah, I pick the crown jewels every year in any new racetrack. I've got to admit, I have no idea who I predicted for the Southern 500, but I can guarantee you it was not Chase Briscoe. Coke 600, I don't know. Brickyard 400, I think I went Byron because the 24 car with Jeff Gordon won in every year that ended with 4, and it's 2024, so I think I picked Byron. Daytona, I really don't know who I picked for Daytona.
Events, and then we also pick the winners for the inaugural events in NASCAR. So that's what we're going to do here. Daytona, the Coke 600, the Brickyard 400, the Southern 500, and I included the Bristol Night Race. I include that in terms of the crown jewels.
Okay.
And then, of course, we have a new track, Iowa, so I will predict that as well.
I don't think I picked Blaney.
The first one I'm going to do is Iowa. There's no logic behind this one. I just picked Kyle Larson. Larson's fast.
Okay, it's an X. And he was fast there at least. I mean, it's still wrong. It's still an X, but I'll tell you, I'm still baffled by my first 3 bold predictions, honestly.
That's about all I got. I've got no other reason but Kyle Larson. Now for Daytona. Daytona, this one, usually I don't calculate. I could just kind of think, this guy runs good here. Sure, why not? I'm going to get this wrong. I usually get this wrong. I don't think I've ever picked a Daytona 500 correctly. So, apologies to this fan base in advance, but I'm going to pick Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott's on a long win release.
Yeah, no. I don't even remember how Elliott did in the 500, but his teammate won, so at least I got Hendrick, but I'm not going to give myself a check because I picked Elliott. I didn't pick Hendrick.
But for some reason, he's really good at the super speedways in the next-gen car. He's picked up a couple wins, one at Talladega, one at Atlanta. He's run really good at Daytona. But for some reason at Daytona, he's cursed in the 500. Like, he'll run great in the summer race.
Okay.
The Daytona 500, he crashes or he finishes like 13th. I just gave you some logic, but Chase Elliott, there you go. As for the Coke 600, this guy came close to winning it last year. Ended up finishing second, I believe. Toyotas are really good at the mile-and-a-half tracks, and this guy is good at the mile-and-a-half tracks as well. Picked up a win on the style racetrack last year. I think Tyler Reddick wins the Coke 600 this season.
All right, well, Coke 600 got rain shortened, so I mean, it's another X because Christopher Bell won, but I was on the right track with Toyota. Still wrong, but we are now 1-for-7. So David got the Daytona 500 right. He said he picked William Byron, so at least someone's get. David is at least even with me on picks. I'd have to guess that he's doing better because I think some of those bold predictions he would not have agreed with. So David, I think you're doing better.
As for the Brickyard 400, the return
I think it was
to
Byron.
the iconic
I think I picked
venue,
Byron.
or the iconic oval, I should say. They were staying at the venue still with the road course. 1994, the first ever Brickyard 400.
Yep, I told you this was my
Jeff
logic.
Gordon wins. 2004, Jeff Gordon
Get on with
wins. 2014, Jeff Gordon wins. So every year ending with a 4, Jeff Gordon has won. That's why I'm picking Jeff Gordon to win the 2024 Brickyard 400.
I think he could have.
Actually, but
I do.
I think the 24 once again wins with a year that ends in a 4. And I think William Byron wins the Brickyard 400. I think he continues the trend if he does not.
Yeah.
And I crossed the old number, William Byron to win the Brickyard 400. So to continue the 1994, 2004, 2014, 2024, the 24 wins, whatever year ends in 4. As for the Southern 500, we're going to go back to Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin, so good at Darlington, almost won this race last year.
He wasn't even... I mean, he wasn't bad in the Southern 500, but he wasn't relevant in terms of the race for the win. He was like 7th, I think. So, another X for me. There's no way we're batting 500 in this thing. I mean, playoff, I pretty much get all my points from the playoffs, but I think I only got 10 this year if I had to guess.
But a loose wheel on a late pit stop kind of ruined his day. I think they all get it together over there at Joe Gibbs Racing. And I think Denny Hamlin, Darlington's one of his best tracks. I think he wins the Southern 500. As for the Bristol Night Race, I wrote down Joey Logano. No real logic there. Just Joey Logano. Now, these next two,
I thought I might have gotten Larson there, but apparently not. I put Joey Logano. I really got to make less predictions next year if I want to have a shot.
We got it in 2022 was my best year of preseason predictions. 2020, I got the champion right, but 2022, I got 14 of the 15 playoff drivers. There were 16, but Kurt Busch, I gave myself a waiver because no one saw him getting hurt. But right now, I'm 0 for 1, 0 for 2, 0 for 3, 1 for 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm 1 for 11. Well, this is going very poorly. But hey, as long as you guys are laughing at me and having a good time looking at how bad I am at predictions, I'm happy.
I don't usually predict this, but I'm just going to predict it anyways. I'm going to give you some odds with it. Whenever I pick a champion or a championship 4, you will get the odds with it. I'm not picking based on the odds value. Like, I'm not going to pick a guy at 16 to 1 because, I like that value. And it could happen. I'm picking genuinely based off who I think is going to win, but then I'm going to tell you the odds. My Truck Series champion. I'm going for some redemption. I think he should have won it last year. He dominated the Truck Series, got screwed in that championship race because the format is dumb. I think Corey Heim redeems himself. He's at plus 240 odds. I think Corey Heim wins.
So there you go. For everyone who thinks I just hate Joey Logano, right there I said the format's dumb back in February. In fact, there's multiple video instances of me saying the playoffs are dumb. But to everyone who thought I was just yelling and screaming because it was Logano, this is back in February. So there you go. I'm just a playoff hater.
Wins himself a Truck Series championship before eventually getting a promotion to the Xfinity Series. And then as for the Xfinity Series
I'm not counting that as a prediction.
Champion, I'm going to go with Sam Mayer at plus.
Oh, my God.
Okay. That's just more X's, man. This is rough. This is really bad. This is going to be a very low percentage. I should have set my goal for like 25%.
550. Just because he had a really good year last year.
I got JRM right, I guess, but
wins, made it to his first championship 4. I think he takes another step forward, wins multiple races yet again, and I think he wins his first ever Xfinity Series championship.
He did win multiple races at least.
The Cup Series playoffs. I have 16 names written down. Now, I got to be honest with you. I did not write down name number 16 until about 10 minutes before I recorded this video. I had written down all the guys I had as locks, some guys I thought I was pretty confident could get in.
Please. Okay, I know I put him in my playoffs, but please, me from the past. Please don't say you put Kyle Busch as a lock. This is about to be another level of embarrassing if you put Kyle Busch as a lock. That's going to be such a big X on the paper. Please just have him on the bubble.
But there was this last few spots, the last one spot that I had narrowed down to 2 guys.
Okay.
And I had to sleep on it. I had to go to bed, sleep on it, wake up the next morning, walk around, sweat, sit in the corner, cry before I eventually made that choice. Now let's go through the locks first. These guys, I said this last year and it actually happened. The only way I see these guys missing the playoffs is if there is an injury or the world ends or we have 17 winners and
Stop talking.
4 of them are 23rd and through 27th in points, And so that would be a very long shot for them to miss the playoffs. Those locks are the defending champion Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, William Byron,
5,
Denny Hamlin,
6,
Christopher Bell,
7,
Martin Truex Jr.,
8,
Raj Chastain,
9,
Kyle Busch, and Tyler Reddick. I think.
Oh no!
I'm gonna put these checks down with so much happiness. Yeah, Kyle Busch was not a lock to get in the playoffs. Yeah. Worst year for Kyle Busch in his career. He went winless. He missed the playoffs. Yeah. No. I don't want to talk about it. Chastain didn't make the... Oh, my God. I forgot that Chastain missed the playoffs, too. So that's 2 guys. That is 2. That is 2 people that I had in the playoffs. Not only I had them in the playoffs, I had them as locks. That the only way that they would miss the playoffs is if the world ended or if they got hurt. Or if a bunch of drivers in the 20s won. Now, I could argue that, Suarez was behind Chastain and Busch in the points. Cindric and Briscoe and Burton. But no, this is embarrassing. I don't want to defend myself. I got to recount here. Everyone I get right.
Defending champion Ryan Blaney.
1,
Joey Logano,
2,
Kyle
3,
Larson, Chase
4,
Elliott, William
5,
Denny Hamlin,
6,
Christopher
7,
Bell, Martin Truex
8.
Jr., Raj Chastain, Kyle Busch,
back to
and
back too.
Tyler
Okay, so I got 9.
Reddick. I think those guys.
9 checks and 2 X's. Oh, God almighty, that's bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
And there's the X's. Yeah. Okay.
It's not going well, guys. It's really not. So I got 9 of the 11 so far. So we're not beating my record of 14 of 15 that one year. Let's move on. This is rough. This is really rough.
Guys should be able to make it in. No stress whatsoever unless there is 18 winners, as I said, or unless they miss 8 or 9 races. The next 3 guys I'm about to mention, I did not quite have them in that lock category just because I think I need to explain them a little bit more because some people do still doubt them. But I am fairly confident that they make the playoffs. I think, just like these locks, I think they should make it without stress. But, you never know. Those 3 guys are Brad Keselowski, Chris Buescher, and Alex Bowman. Now the RFK.
Okay. I thought I could get through a section of this without any pain here, but yeah. Okay, Keselowski and Bowman, I nailed that. 2 check marks for that. And then Buescher, just like Chastain, solid season. Top 15 and top 12 in points, I think, if I remember correctly, but too many winners and they didn't win in time. Buescher, of course, won at Watkins Glen. Chastain won at Kansas, but they were in the playoffs, and as a result, they missed the playoffs. So I've got 11 of the playoff guys, right? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I've got 11 of the playoff guys, right? So I guess that's lovely. But this percentage is still low, but we are beefing up a little bit with the playoffs.
Okay, cars obviously took a huge step forward last year. Both cars made the playoffs. Chris Buescher won 3 races and made it to the round of 8. But ultimately, that was their 1 year. Other than that, it's been kind of a struggle for RFK. I know they won the Bristol Night Race in 2022 with Chris Buescher, but it's been a tough decade. But I do think they back up that 2023 season. I think both drivers win races.
Oh!
And I think both of them have a good shot to make a playoff run, a deep playoff run. And then as for Alex Bowman, there's been a lot of Alex Bowman doubt out there, which is surprising to me. The guy's won 7, 8 career Cup Series races, and obviously after that back injury last year, he just was not right. He was leading the points up until his injury, and
That's
then
accurate.
Once the injury hit, he just was never back in his early season form. Denny Hamlin talked about it a bit on his podcast. He had a similar injury back in 2013. And he said it took him more than a season to get back into that form. And I think Bowman, with some off-season recovery time, with some time to kind of revamp, revitalize, relook at the season.
And he did.
Look forward a new season.
We got a check mark out of it.
I think Bowman
Let's go.
will win a race at least.
Yeah.
And I think he makes the playoffs with no stress. So that is 14 spots in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs.
I'm 11
of course,
14.
One of them I already spoiled, so let's get this out of the way. No need to drag this one out. Ty Gibbs,
Hey!
I said earlier in this video, I think
job,
he wins
me.
multiple races. I know he missed the playoffs last year, but he was a rookie, and, rookie things happen. But Ty Gibbs, I think he takes a huge step forward this year. I think he wins multiple races, and I think he makes the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. As for this last spot, I have a list of legit contenders, and that is down to 9 guys. And then I have my long shots. I'm going to go ahead and give you those long shots. These long shot guys, respectfully, I think the only way they make the playoffs with a win. And if they win, they will be in the 20s in the points, and that is the only way they get in. Those guys are Josh Berry, Noah Gragson, Harrison Burton, Daniel Hemrick, Michael McDowell.
Yeah. Okay, technically, that was not a prediction. That was just how I categorized my guys in the playoffs. But yeah, Harrison Burton was not even in the 20s. He was in the 30s when he won his race. And yeah, as I said, the only way Harrison Burton was making the playoffs was by winning. And, well, that's exactly what happened. So I got that pick right. That Monday pick will forever be remembered by me. The Monday before Daytona, I picked Harrison Burton, and Harrison Burton won. Never forget. I'm not putting it down as a check mark, though I should, but I'm not.
Todd Gilliland, Ryan Preece, John Hunter Nemechek, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Justin Haley, Zane Smith, and Carson Hocevar.
Well, I tell you what, Stenhouse ended up winning a race, but he was out of the playoffs by the time it happened, so take that how you want.
Those are all, these are good drivers, yes, but I just don't think the equipment helps them in the long run, and I don't think that they make the playoffs. It's going to take a win. And I think I said this about Stenhouse and McDowell last year, and that ended up being the case, and that ends up blowing up my playoff bracket. So if one of them wins, my bracket's ruined. As for the legit contenders for this final spot, I have written down Austin Cindric, Austin Dillon, Chase Briscoe, Bubba Wallace, Eric Jones, Ty Gibbs, who I already put in the playoffs. I don't know why he's there, Corey LaJoie, and Daniel Suarez.
Okay. So this next group of guys, this was my bubble area, basically. And, half of them won. Suarez, Cindric. Austin Dillon won a race, but he got the win taken away in terms of the playoff eligibility. Chase Briscoe ends up winning a race. I mean, I don't think I had any of those guys. We're about to figure it out. But Craig says that his picks went to heck. Oh, Craig, buddy. Yeah. Here's where we are so far. Look at all those X's. All those check marks. The only non-playoff check mark is this one right here, and that's because I predicted that Truex would retire. Outside of that, yeah, no, it's been very bad. Very bad. But laugh at me. Please laugh at me. It makes me happy.
I will say this is a tough one, this last playoff spot, because the majority of these guys, I think everyone but LaJoie on this list is a Cup Series winner. And they have won.
I had LaJoie in that group.
Austin Cindric won the 2022 Daytona 500. Austin Dillon has a few Cup Series wins.
He ended up winning
Chase
another.
Briscoe won at Phoenix 2 years ago. Bubba Wallace won at Kansas 2 years ago. Eric Jones won the Southern 500 2 years ago. Daniel Suarez won at Sonoma 2 years ago. So all these guys have shown that they're capable of winning, with the exception of LaJoie, and they have shown that recently. Now, the reason I put LaJoy in this list is because I do believe in Spire Motorsports. I think that they take a step forward this year in terms of competitiveness, and I think Corey LaJoy is going to have his breakout year in terms of statistics, in terms of the
Please
numbers.
don't put him in the playoffs.
But ultimately,
Please, for the love of
I
God.
don't think he wins a race. Therefore, I think he falls
Jesus
short. But I
Christ.
do
I was about
expect
to-
a very good year for Corey LaJoy. I expect
That
him
would-
in top 23. In the
That would have been the perfect ending to the prediction segment. Well, not all. We still got more predictions, but oh, Craig, you were all in on Kyle Busch. Well, technically, Craig, you and I ended up in the same position. We both got our champions wrong. If Kyle Busch was your champion, it's just a matter of yours was a little bit more embarrassing. But as I said, man, we're more embarrassing over here. We got a lot of X's.
points. As for these other guys, it was tough, but ultimately, I don't think Suarez makes it, and I think that's crushing for him. I don't think Austin Cindric makes it. I know he is in a Penske car. He should be in the playoffs, but ultimately, he just hasn't shown me enough to put him in the playoffs. Austin Dillon, I know RCR's taken some big steps in the past couple of years.
Dude, if Austin Dillon wins that race normally and he made the playoffs, and I go Suarez, Cindric, Dillon back to back, saying that they're not going to make the playoffs after they did. Oh man, oh Jesus.
But I think he needs to win to get into the playoffs. I think he can point his way in, but ultimately I think he falls short. Chase Briscoe, Stuart Haas Racing is just not good right now. I don't think he makes it. That leaves us down to two guys.
Damn it.
These are the guys I stressed over. One playoff spot. Bubba Wallace, Eric Jones.
Neither of them make
Both of
it.
these guys are proven that they can win in the Cup Series.
Please
they
be-
both have multiple wins in the Cup Series.
Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and put my X because both of them missed the playoffs. But please let it be Bubba. Please let it be the first guy out at least. And not have it be Jones who finished 28th in points because that would be even more embarrassing. My playoff prediction, this whole video, this is the most embarrassing, worst preseason predictions I've ever done. I've had some highs. I got the champion right in 2020. We got all but one playoff spot in 2022. And everything else has been pretty, all over the place, but we've never had something this low. 12 of 16 on the playoff drivers. We had Kyle Busch and Ross Chastain as locks. The only way they miss the playoffs is if the world ends or if they get hurt or if there's a bunch of winners, which Chastain's case, you could argue that, but Kyle Busch was bad this year. Yeah, and then I'm talking about how all these guys won't make the playoffs, and they did make the playoffs. This is pretty rough.
They both have wins recently in the Cup Series. They both won with their respective teams in the Cup Series. And it's tough because I think both of these guys are capable of winning a race this
Craig, you have a bold prediction of Kyle Busch going back to Gibbs. Well, let me tell you about one of my bold predictions. If you were here for it, then I'm just repeating myself. I said Matt Kenseth would run in a race. That was the first one. That was the first X right there. That's
year. But the fact of the matter is, yes, both of them could win, but look at the list I just provided you with of who I have in the playoffs. I think all those guys are capable of winning. The fact of the matter is there's only 16 spots. I can't put 17 guys in there unless they 2013 Jeff Gordon, which I don't.
Oh, that ended up being an elite reference because that ended up being a talking point this season at Martinsville when we had some race manipulations happening and people kept comparing it to 2013 Richmond and said that there should have been a disqualification in the championship for Byron or that Bell should have been added as a fifth driver. So that's ironic that I brought that up in the preseason because it actually kind of, people start talking about it again. Now, I'm not going to give myself a check because I didn't predict it. Would have been a damn good prediction, but no.
Don't think they would. This is tough. Once again, I slept on it. I thought about it, but ultimately, between Eric Jones and Bubba Wallace.
Okay, I get it wrong. I don't
last
know why.
spot I gave
Please be
to
Bubba.
was Bubba Wallace.
Let's go.
Bubba
Okay,
Wallace
I got it
in the
wrong, but I
playoffs
didn't
won.
get it as embarrassingly wrong as I did Kyle Busch and Chad. I'll take it. First one out of the playoffs. Cool. I already wrote down my X.
For the
All
first
right,
time
cool.
last season. And I think the big thing is he has been.
The fact that we're celebrating L's being less embarrassing than they could be, that should tell you how bad the predictions are going. Is that we're celebrating the L. We're celebrating losing by a touchdown versus losing by 7 touchdowns.
Been at that team for a few years, just like Eric Jones has, but
Okay, all right. I don't
back
need
in
the
the
analysis.
Toyota, Jones will run.
Silence.
But there could be growing pains. There's just a home run. Gibbs race next gen. I'm optimistic personally, but there is a couple question marks, and I just think Bubba Wallace straight up has figured out how to run. He gets him over Eric Jones. Is ultimately he's on a winless streak.
Oh my God, I talked about this for
and
so long.
So therefore, Bubba Wallace in my playoffs. So that means my 16 playoff drivers are Ryan Blaney, the defending champion, Joey Logano, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, William Byron, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, Martin Truex Jr., Ross Chastain, Brad Keselowski, Chris Buescher, Kyle Busch, Tyler Reddick, Alex Bowman, Ty Gibbs, and Bubba Wallace.
12 of 16.
My 16 playoff drivers. And we have narrowed a 34 driver field down to 16 playoff spots. It's time to narrow it once again.
So we just chopped the field in half, essentially. Not technically half. And I got 75% of it, which is pretty bad, if you ask me.
Into the final 4. And once again, it was a struggle. I will say, usually I predict my...
All right, my final 4. I don't remember what I did. I know Bell is my champion. If I had to guess, if I had to predict my predictions, I think I had Logano in because of the whole evened year thing. And then I think I had Larson because I like the setup of tracks. And then I might have gone Truex. I think I went Truex because I predicted him to retire, and I thought he would be most likely to have a Gordon-type run like 2015. So I think I went Larson, Bell, Logano, Truex, if I remember correctly.
Champion. I have my champion in my head at the end of November. Season ends in early November, and I'm like, all right, who's going to win the championship next year? Who's running well in 2023? Blah, blah, blah. And then by the end of November, I'm like, okay, I've settled on a guy.
This is true, by the way. I have my champion usually. I have it pictured like by the end of November. So what's today? Today is November 17th. We're 13 days away from 2 weeks. Let's call it 2 weeks away from November ending. I think I'll have my champion decided by then. Yeah, sounds about right.
Order the hat. Let's get it done. And then we'll have it. We'll have our guy. This year, it took longer to pick a champion. Now, this format is fluky, and I'm going to be honest. It would take a little bit of luck for me to pick the championship right. I got it right once in 2020 with Chase Elliott.
It's true.
Since then, it has usually been dramatic failure. Like last year, I picked Tyler Reddick. I think he was out in the round of 12. 2 years ago, I picked Kyle Larson. He was out in the round of 12. 1 year, I think 21, I picked Truex, and he finished second, so that was close. But we're not even to the championship pick yet. But the point being is one of these 4 guys will be my champion, and more than likely it will fail because, once again, in my opinion, I just don't.
Who's your final 4?
But you've been waiting long enough. I've been stalling long enough. Let's get to my championship 4 picks. Championship 4, spot number 1, Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson is sitting at plus 120 in terms of going to the championship 4, and here's why I think Larson makes the championship 4. Kyle Larson, in the prime of his career, however long it lasts, will win 3+ races, more than likely, almost every single year. He is a talented driver,
It's accurate. He won 6 freaking races this year. But because 3 guys below the cutoff line in the round of 8 win, he doesn't make the final 4.
highly talented driver who can win on a variety of...
Byron will get the 2025 championship. Go ahead and buy. Oh, buddy, I have 24 hats. I got a Jeff Gordon hat. I got a William Byron hat. I mean, I haven't decided on my champion yet. Once again, 2 weeks I'll have my decision, but yeah. All right, anyways. 0 for 1 on the championship 4.
Racetracks, 1.5 miles, road courses, short tracks. I already said 1.5 miles. I almost said intermediates again. The only place he can't win, super speedways. which is my concern in the early stages of the playoffs. But as I said, if he's winning multiple races, winning stages, he's going to have enough playoff points to squeak on by through the first 2 rounds. And if he gets to that round of 8, he's a contender for the win all 3 of those races. Vegas, he won last fall. He has multiple wins at that Las Vegas track. In the next-gen era, he runs top 3 almost every single race at Las Vegas. The only time he didn't is when he got wrecked out by Bubba Wallace in 2022 in the fall. Kyle Larson at Las Vegas is so good, and then that's not even talking about one of his best tracks, Homestead, Miami. Homestead, Miami, he is a top 2 car unless he drives into the back of the sand barrels. But Kyle Larson, those 2 tracks alone, I am confident that he can win one of those. And then the third race, Martinsville, I used to have a game in terms of the Cup Series especially. I think Christopher Bell makes his 3rd consecutive.
0 for 2 on the Final Four. The goal of this stream, by the way, was to get 50%. To get 50% of my predictions correctly. I'm scared to count, but I'm pretty sure we're in the 30s if I had to guess. Between playoff drivers, bold predictions, picking the majors, and yeah, this is not going well. This is going really, really bad.
Consecutive championship 4 race. He's currently sitting at plus 160 odds, but Christopher Bell, he is quietly consistent. I've been saying this for years on this channel.
He
doesn't do it flashy.
in the playoffs.
He does not go out there and win 7 races every year. He doesn't go out.
He won 3 races this year. He had the best average finish in the playoffs. I think he had the most top 10s in the playoffs. He about won at Vegas, which if he did, he would be in the Final Four. But then he got disqualified for the wall ride at Martinsville.
Out there and absolutely whip the field, but he is quietly consistent. He'll be top 5 in points most of the year. He'll rack up 7th, 8th place finishes, get a win every once in a while, get a top 5 every couple of weeks. But Christopher Bell, he's quietly consistent. He's going to be up there in the regular season standings, pick up some bonus points that round of 8 at Martinsville. He was a lap away from winning at Las Vegas last fall.
2nd straight year of that, by the way.
Set of lineup. Person, I am concerned that those early rounds are a talented short track racer, and of course, so now having multiple super speedways. My 3rd guy, I'm not going to lie. There's a little bit less logic with this one, but the numbers do not lie. Joey Logano makes the Final Four every even-numbered year.
Booyah!
2016, 2018,
No logic.
2022.
But the math doesn't lie.
Guess what year it is? 2024.
Baby.
It's 2024.
It's an ugly
Joey
check,
Logano
but
is going to make the Final Four. He misses it in the odds. He makes it in the evens. It is almost guaranteed success at this point.
It
Watch
is.
this be the year that he actually misses the Final Four in an even-numbered year. But Joey Logano, I think he makes it back. He had a massive championship hangover last year.
he did.
He only had one win. Disgusting.
Who's the
ultimately,
4th?
He's a better super speedway. It's an even up Final Four in an even numbered year. That leaves 1 spot left.
Okay. So I said I think it's Truex. I'm really hoping it was Byron or Blaney. I don't think it is, but I really hope so because I really want another check mark. I want to go 50% on my preseason Final Four.
You're not going to believe the 2 guys I have this narrowed down to. Denny Hamlin is one of them.
Oh, God.
And you're going to say, okay, that's not a shock. But, oh, here we go. The Denny Hamlin talk. Denny Hamlin, it's his year, blah, blah, blah. They say that every year. And then my 2nd guy, Brad Keselowski. Brad Keselowski.
You know, if I want motivation to not make such bold picks next year, if I want motivation to, do well on my predictions next year, I just got to show myself this. This is terrible. It is embarrassing, man. Hey, at least you guys are getting some entertainment tonight out of this. Oh, God.
Keselowski for Denny
Please
Hamlin
pick
for this
Denny.
final spot.
Please pick Denny.
Denny Hamlin has made the Final Four, 5 times in his career. In the last 2 years, he has lost it in the stupidest ways. In 2022, in the middle of turn 4, he had it.
He did.
Had a 3.4-point advantage on Ross Chastain. It would take a miracle for him to not make the Final Four. Oh, and there goes Ross Chastain on the wall. Never happened in NASCAR. It will never happen again. And there's Denny Hamlin watching it knock him out of the playoffs. Maybe the stupidest way to get eliminated from the Final Four contention.
All right, you gotta admit, it was a little fun. I mean, it sucked for Hamlin, his fans, but I gotta remember it. You gotta admit, it's a little bit funny how he lost that one.
And then last year, it was not as stupid, but once again, it was kind of fluky. Denny Hamlin, comfortably, points ahead of the Final Four, and something explodes in his car, and he crashes with 20 to go at Homestead, putting him in a bad situation going to Martinsville. Ryan Blaney wins. William Byron had the points advantage. And then Denny Hamlin, eliminated from playoff contention. So, does Denny Hamlin make the Final Four for the first time since 2021? Does Brad Keselowski make the Final Four for the first time since 2020? Make the Final Four for the first time with RFK? Is it Denny Hamlin's year? Is RFK back? Such a tough choice.
Did I already put an X for this?
I'm so sorry to give you hope, Denny Hamlin fans, but I'm going with the bold prediction that Brad Keselowski makes the first championship 4 in RFK history. Why? Here's why. RFK has been...
Nope. No, I can't. I should really just rethink my life decisions at this point. All right, so in conclusion, so far I haven't even shown you my incorrect championship pick yet. So far in this video, I predicted that right off the bat, we just started on a heater, that Matt Kenseth would show up 1 week with Legacy Motor Club and he would be in the car racing. Right then and there, we should have known that this video was going to be rough. That this was going to be some pretty bad predictions. Then we go down the road. We get Martin Truex Jr.'s retirement right. Cool. Then we keep going. We miss every single major. We miss every single new racetrack pick. Then we go to the playoff drivers. My exact words. The only way that Kyle Busch and Ross Chastain miss the playoffs is if the world ends, if they get injured, or if we get a buttload of winners. In Chastain's case, okay, you could argue the winners thing, but once again, this is too embarrassing. I'm not going to use that as a crutch. And then Kyle Busch, that was bad. That backfired massively. We are not doing locks next year. From now on in preseason predictions, this has scared me away. I am never doing locks again. 2023, I had Elliott and Bowman as locks, but they got hurt, and it was like, okay, that's a fluky situation. Outside of that, we don't really miss a lot of locks. I think 2022 Truex because there were too many winners. But yeah, this was bad. This was the worst that we've ever done. And then I went 12 of 16 on playoff drivers. I had my last spot down to Eric Jones and Bubba Wallace, which thank God I picked Bubba. I was still wrong, but at least it was a little bit less embarrassing. But yeah, no, it's been rough. And then my championship 4. Christopher Bell, who loses it in the most absurd, weird fashion with race manipulation and a half wall ride. I got Logano right because of the whole even year thing. The only reason I got something right is because of odd coincidences with the calendar. Larson I missed because we had a bunch of winners below the cut line in the round of 8. And then I don't even know what I was thinking. I put Brad Keselowski in the Final Four. I know who I picked for the championship. I just want to see myself say it and laugh at myself a little bit more. But
Making those steps forward.
some of you may not.
As I have been saying. And by the way, plus 350 odds for those of you counting at home. RFK has been taking those steps forward.
Okay, silence.
The short tracks are great for 4. It's a little bit of a bold one. It's a little bit out there. It's time for a championship or a champion, I should say.
Just gonna
pick. Now, normally I got a hat sitting over here. I got my 4 hats lined up. But the fact of the matter is, I did not come up with my champion until about a week ago. And ultimately, that I wasn't able to get a hat in time. So we're going to do this Oscar style. I'm going to get all dressed up.
Oh, God almighty. I forgot I did this. Oh, Jesus Christ. No, I picked Reddick last year. No, but I thought I had a hat. Or not a bell hat. I thought I, taped a 20 on a hat. I can't remember what I did.
And I've got an envelope with my championship pick there. So let me go get all fancy and present this one like an Oscar.
Wait, actually? I think I actually do. Hold on. All right. I actually think I do have it in here still. The envelope. Because I thought that I was going to get it right for once. And that I was going to come out here and... Yeah, look, I still have it. I thought I was going to get it right. I was going to be a genius. I would come back here in November, pull it out, look all cool, think I was a genius. But yeah, here it is. Look, it's the same envelope as right here. See, look.
Airplane food, am I right? Yeah, the great comedy of Sam Hornish Jr., everyone. Give it up.
Okay.
Give it up for Sam Hornish Jr. Give it up.
Same envelope,
Yeah.
told you.
Great,
Oh, yeah.
comedian
Got some
here.
old Oscars clips in there.
But yes.
Copyright, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think I got copyright. I think I made the clip short enough, but I probably shouldn't talk about this for legal reasons.
It is the time that we've
Yeah, I had a bow
all been
tie.
waiting for. The NASCAR
Got my
awards
fancy
are
Talladega
over.
shirt.
We've handed out so many NASCARs today, as they call them.
Right.
And now, for the ultimate moment, the championship category of NASCAR. Here are your nominees. Christopher Bell, Joe Gibbs Racing.
Nope. Stop clapping.
Kyle Larson, Hendrick Motorsports.
Nope. Quit clapping, Quentin.
Joey Logano, Team Penske.
All right. Okay. Good job, Jennifer Lawrence. You're clapping
And
for the
finally,
eventual champion.
Our final nominee, Brad Keselowski, RFK Racing.
His name's Brad too.
And now, thank you, Sam. Give it to me. So greedy.
Terrible throw.
I have in my hands the winner of our final NASCAR. And the NASCAR goes to Christopher Bell, Joe Gibbs Racing. But yes, that is my 2024 NASCAR.
I just realized I put Woody Harrelson in there twice. Yeah, the remains of the 20 prediction. Here lies my 2024 NASCAR Cup Series Championship prediction in shambles, in shreds.
Do I really have to tally this now? Okay.
Well, okay, there's a minute left. Maybe I make another prediction. Maybe I get something right. I'm delusional. Where there is delusion, there is hope.
Our preview and predictions. I hope you enjoyed that little bit. I know it might have been weird, cringeworthy, but
Hey, man, that's the first time I can ever say that Amelia Clark, Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Woody Harrelson, Jennifer Lawrence, I forget who else. That's the first and probably only time I could say that they're going to be in one of my videos. So that's cool, I guess. I got that going for me.
I didn't have a hat. I needed to come up with something creative, and I figured if I print Christopher Bell's number onto a piece of paper and present it like an Oscar, it might be funny. I don't know. But ultimately, that is
Shreds
my championship pick. As for why,
It's hard to throw.
he's been doubted so
crumble.
much in his career, as I have said multiple times. He's been looked beyond, I guess. And I've been like, you know what? This is finally going to be his time to take over and win a NASCAR championship. I think Christopher Bell wins his first ever NASCAR Cup Series championship in 2024. So once again, let me know what your championship pick is in the comments. Let me know your Final Four picks. Let me know your playoff picks. And I'm looking forward to the 2024 NASCAR season. Just 1 week away from the Daytona 500. We got qualifying, the duels all this week. We will be talking about it here on the channel. I'm excited for it. I hope you're excited for it too. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this season. So thanks again for watching. I hope you have a great day.
Oh, I hope you have a great day too. Oh my. Okay. I forgot. Yes, Fantasy NASCAR. We're gonna go look at the final standings of that. Firstly, let me how about let's add up this percentage here. Yes, I know how to make playoff picks, okay? Leave me be. Leave me alone. To quote, okay. Exit. Okay. Well, I had the championship 4 and my playoff. All right, let's look at the, okay, no. Okay, well, spoiler alert on who's the champion here. More throwing. All right, let's add it up. How many X's? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 33 total predictions. 33. That was a terrible 3. And out of those, how many check marks did we have? 1. Go through a bunch of X's. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Few more X's. 11, 12. Few more X's. 13, 14. Yeah. The goal was to go 500, and we were 3 short of going 500. So, excuse my poor handwriting, but 14 of 33. As I said, worst preseason predictions we've ever had on this channel. But on the bright side, everyone got to laugh at me and my terrible predictions. Yeah. I presented them like Oscars. I should have known it was going to go wrong when I tried to get creative. I should have known rewatching this video it was going to go wrong when I said Matt Kenseth was going to race again. But yeah, that was rough. Whew. All right, let's look at the fantasy scene. Dan the Jets fan, the inaugural champion of the NASCAR, our official league, channel league championship, NASCAR Fantasy Championship. He may be a Jets fan and he has to suffer through watching them every Sunday, but on the bright side, he won the championship of our fantasy league. Pins_22 finishes second, just less than 100 points off of the winner. Congratulations. Zerkman95 on the podium. Congratulations to you, my friend. Then we go to our non-podium sitters. 4th is Dr. Zero. 5th is me. Okay. Matt Smith, 53. Hell on Wheels, 24. RT Racing, PC_18. It Factor Autosport Incorporated. That is your top 10. Then we go down. We've got Big Hat LJ 11th, Tyler Hernandez 12th, David Jerry 13th, Otterbear 8 14th, Micah MLB 15th, Stevie G 16th, Shane Van Hamburger Buns 17th, 18th is 45 and 23 11 fan, and did not start for Dunkin' Donuts. All right, that's the official Dunkin' Donuts. If you guys want me to endorse you, then send me some money, I guess. But anyways, yeah, that's the final results. Get a good look at them on fantasy. But that was rough. That was a lot rougher than I thought it would be. I genuinely, going into this, I had my goal of, get 50% of the predictions right. And I thought I could squeak by 1 or 2. I knew my playoff predictions. I knew I had Busch probably in there. I honestly forgot about Chastain and Buescher and Bubba all missing, and that backfired. But I knew I had the majority of my championship 4 wrong. I knew I had my champion incorrect. And I did not remember doing a bold prediction segment. And, well, it backfired massively. So the goal was to get 50% of the predictions accurate, whether it was picking an individual race, a driver to make the playoffs, or the champion. And in total, we failed miserably. 14 out of 33, which I'm going to do some math here on the calculator. For those of you who are wondering, that is a grand total of 42%. We missed our percentage point by 8%. Yeah, that was bad. That was very ugly. That was very dumb. But yes, I had fun doing this, though. I always enjoy getting laughed at for my terrible preseason predictions, and I knew that this year's were going to be rough. I didn't think they were going to be that bad, but hopefully next year I pick a champion quicker so I can actually, do the old pick a hat thing and put the hat on, and I don't have to present the fake Oscars again and talk about Sam Hornish Jr.'s airline food jokes over there in the corner. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Anyways, thanks for showing up to this live stream, everyone. I had a good time. We've done 3 live streams in the last 48 hours between supercars and this. Once again, I had a good time watching those supercars races. Yesterday's race was wild, by the way, if you didn't get a chance to watch. There's like a 30-minute extended highlight version if you want to go watch it. Great race. But Las Vegas Grand Prix coming up. I haven't decided what I'm going to do for that yet. Am I going to do a live stream? Am I just going to do a normal race recap? But we'll figure out what to do. We'll figure it out. We'll have fun with it. But yeah, Vegas is coming up. NASCAR's over. And then once F1's over, I got to just cry, I guess. But no, for real, thank you guys all for the support throughout the season, for watching these videos, watching these live streams, showing up. Congrats to Dan, the Jets fan, on becoming the inaugural champion of our fantasy league. And yeah, thank you guys again for watching. I'll see you guys later. Any news that comes up, I'll make videos as always, but I appreciate the support. Appreciate you guys showing up to this live stream. If you're watching this in the future, please laugh at how bad my predictions are. It makes me happy.